Holy Gospel according to St. Mark, the 13th chapter.
Glory to you, O Lord.
As Jesus came out of the temple, one of his disciples said to him, "Look, teacher, what large stones and what large buildings." Then Jesus asked him, "Do you see all these great buildings? Not one stone will be left here upon another. All will be thrown down." When Jesus was sitting on the Mount of Olives opposite the temple, Peter, James, John, and Andrew asked him privately, "Tell us, when will this be, and what will be the sign that all these things are about to be accomplished?" Then Jesus began to say to them, "Beware that no one leads you astray. For many will come in my name and say, 'I am he,' and they will lead many astray. When you hear of wars and rumors of wars, do not be alarmed. This must take place, but the end is still to come. For nation will rise against nation, and kingdom against kingdom. There will be earthquakes in various places. There will be famines. But this is just the beginning of the birth pains." The Gospel of the Lord.
Praise to you, O Christ.
There is something intriguing about temples and the great buildings that we build to worship God. I think of this every time I get off the Massachusetts Avenue bus and turn the corner around St. Albans School and see again the magnificence of the Washington National Cathedral. It stands in the city of many temples, as those of us who have been reading Dan Brown's latest page-turner, The Lost Symbol, now know. There is the Supreme Court building, our temple to law. The Capitol, our temple to representative democracy. The White House, our temple that reminds us that rebelled against the monarchy, that we still need one man, and we pray one day one woman to be in charge. There is the Temple of Secrets down in Langley, Virginia, otherwise known as CIA headquarters, and the Temple of the Gods of War, the Pentagon. These are all strong, solid buildings that look like they will last forever. And towering over them all, but really the highest point in Washington, which was in fact basically a swamp when they built it, is the Cathedral Church of Saints Peter and Paul, the National Cathedral, the place where we go to mourn fallen heads of state, to celebrate great national events, and, what may be most surprising of all, is still a day-to-day working parish church, just like this one. We need temples and churches to remind us of the glories of God and our place in the universe. Some might see them only as wastes of money, but without them, Judaism and Christianity would not have existed down through the ages. Pastors throughout the Metropolitan Chicago Synod experienced again this week that fact in an email that came our way, telling us that after more than half a century, Christ the King Lutheran Church in the South Loop was closing. It was ironic, as a very fine pastor, Doug King, noted in his weblog, that just as the South Loop and the surrounding neighborhoods became a viable residential area again, the ELC's one church there died. Christ the King congregation worshipped in many places throughout the years, and were served by some great pastors. But in the end, they tried to be a church without walls, holding their services first in a park near Dearborn and Polk Streets, and then in a youth hostel. I'm not sure exactly what happened, but I do think that it would be very hard to compete as a church without walls when a very short walk on a beautiful fall day like today, or a short cab ride in the midst of winter, would bring you to 4 churches that have some pretty spectacular walls, vibrant ministries, wonderful music, and most of all, I think, a sense of history and place. First United Methodist, Fourth Presbyterian, St. James Episcopal Cathedral, and after a close call, Holy Name Cathedral offer a sense of the God's Anders, the holy other, that a city park or a rented room in a youth hostel just can't provide. All of us need solid places in which to worship, places that give us a sense of place. That's what the temple did for the people in Jerusalem. The Jews had lost so much in the Roman occupation, but still, they had the temple. And even the temple was a result of an unholy alliance with Rome. The temple that some of them were admiring was not built to the glory of God, but as a tourist attraction by Herod. Yes, evil King Herod, whom everybody hated, rebuilt the temple of Jerusalem to try to make the city into a first-century tourist destination. He wanted religious pilgrims to come for sure, but he also welcomed unbelievers who came and wanted to take in some of the architectural grandeur. The temple was the most grand at all. For, as Josephus noted, the temple lacked for nothing that could astound either mind nor eye, covered on all sides with massive plates of gold. It was quite a place that could cause one, as one of Jesus' friends did say, "Look, teacher, what massive stones, what magnificent buildings!"